Hello and welcome to Match Darts. In this episode, we look at the PDC World Champions. And here we have the first ever PDC World Championship, which took place on December the 26th, 1993, with a final on the 2nd of January 1994, which is what they really should do today's game, is where you had a third place playoff between Steve Brown and Peter Everson, but eventually Dennis Priestley beat Phil Taylor, but mind you, Phil Taylor only had an 85 average, and we all know what he came to be later on. But Dennis Priestley took the first PDC World Championship crown, which won him £16,000, and let's have a look at his winning moment.
99. Dennis requires 16.
So double eight. It's proved so fruitful so many times, but this is the most if he gets it. Priestley, double eight. Games have become the first ever school world champion.
And there's absolute jubilation with his family. Phil Taylor, to his credit, running significantly after the break. But these are going to be the happiest pictures in the wide world of sport.
Now back to our second PDC World Championship, which again, for the second year in a row, had a third place playoff, which John Lowe beat Peter Everson. But in the final, yes, the one and only Phil Taylor got his first PDC crown, where he beat Rod Harrington 6-2 in the final, with the prize money for Phil only being £12,000. Imagine saying that in today's game.
It's below.
It's just below. 57.
Who would have thought double seven to clinch the major title in world darts? But they all count in that outer ring, double seven. And he got the shocker of his life as the pop cannons went off and nothing stopped for the local boy. They went for Taylor.
And now we move on to the third PDC World Championship, which again started on Boxing Day, December 26th, 1996. And now this event had no third place playoff final, which I think really would make finals night a bit more better, especially now in the current game. But in the final, we had Phil Taylor, who was triumphant in his victory over Dennis Priestley, 6-4.
Now, silent crowd. Target in green. Quarter of an inch. Makes Taylor champion of the world again! Arms are raised aloft in January! And Taylor and Priestley have provided us with the most memorable dart match you could.
And now we move on to the 1997 PDC World Championship, which this year had a third place playoff where Peter Everson beat Eric Bristol 4-2. But in the final is where we had Phil Taylor against Dennis Priestley for the third time these two have met in the final, where Taylor averaged 100.91, which was the first ever 100 average the PDC finals ever seen, and it earned him a whopping £45,000 in the process. And we'll look at this moment now.
To get the ball. Middly diddly, not quite. Was that the last dart? Points from Menace through. Taylor for 32.
This is the 1998 World Championship, where Phil Taylor takes on Dennis Priestley, where Phil Taylor beats Priestley 6-0, and we'll look at Phil Taylor's winning moment right now.
Could not take the early doors, and now there's just been a progression, an exhibition.
Well, 104. Priestley more than 200 behind. These could be the final three darts of the night. Now 44 left. And double 16 for the 6th time. Champion of the world!
1999 World Championship, which we saw Phil Taylor in his 6th consecutive World Final. And in this one he's playing Peter Manley, which he is victorious 6-2, which earns Phil his 5th World Championship in a row. We'll take a look at his winning moment now.
Champion of the world for the 7th time.
And now we look at the 2000 World Championship, which saw Phil Taylor in his 7th consecutive World Final, where he meets none other than Dennis Priestley, and this is their 5th meeting they've had in the World Championship final. And in 2000 is where they upped from the winner only needing 6 sets to 7 sets, where Phil Taylor was victorious 7-3, which earned him his 6th World Championship in a row. I mean, even 6 in a row, let's be honest, will never be even beaten in today's game. So we'll have a look at his winning moments now. And now we look at the 2001 World Championship, which saw Phil Taylor take part in his 8th final in a row, which means he's competed in every PDC World Final. And in this year, he is looking to face John Part, and Taylor is looking for his 7th World Championship in a row, which he is victorious over John Part 7-0. So it was a little bit of a hammering and a good old whitewash on the scoreboard, where Phil Taylor racked in an average of 107.46, which for a 2001 average ain't too shabby, now is it?
Pressure in it. He has plugged and plugged and plugged away.
140.
So here we go for history, for his 9th World title.
Shot. And the
Phil Taylor trophy.
Phil Taylor.
British experts. His wife had the champagne ready, and who would doubt those the good flight? 7-0 to achieve John Quinn.
And now we look at the 2002 World Championship, which saw Phil Taylor take part in his 9th consecutive final, where he is facing Peter Manley, where Phil Taylor whitewashes him 7-0, which means Phil Taylor wins his 8th consecutive World Championship in a row. And if you want a good old laugh, just look at good old Manley's reaction after Phil Taylor hits his winning double. Take a look.
Which he's showing no signs of getting up to now. This 20. 2 8s for Destiny. Destiny it is! With a whitewash. 7-0. Manley wouldn't shake his hand. Bad order. But who can nothing get in the way of the moment of Destiny.
Tell your children to tell their children to tell their children that tonight you have been part of sporting history. For a man to win 10 world championships is simply phenomenal. His family celebrate, the circus celebrates, we're all celebrating. This has been truly a night of destiny.
And now we look at the 2003 World Championship final, which was Phil Taylor's 10th consecutive final, which he was looking to face John Part, and Phil was looking to win his 9th consecutive World Championship in a row, but he ended up losing 7-6 to John Part, and Phil even missed the ball for a 1-2-1 in the World Championship final, and you can take a look at this winning moment now.
Treble 18, the bullseye to take us. Oh, he's missed it, he's missed. That might be the last start of this match as Park wants 77, treble 19, double 10. To take the world title. 18 and tops. Greatest player ever. John Part wants tops to St. Taylor and does it! John Part of Canada, in the greatest game ever seen by Sky, beats the 10 times world champion. John Part is the happiest man on the planet at the...
And now we look at the 2004 World Championship, which saw Phil Taylor take part in his, 11th consecutive final after last year when he came up short against John Part, where this year, in 2004, he took on Kevin Painter in a sudden death leg, which Phil Taylor was victorious, 7-6, which saw Phil win his 9th PDC World Championship. But even being in every single final for the 11 years, that's just a victory for itself. I'll take a look at his winning double right now.
Looking at double top for his 11th world title after an epic struggle.
Epic it's been. Now can be sorted out by this. 2 10s. 2 5s to become world champ again. Once again, champion of the world!
And now we look at the 2005 World Championship final, which saw Phil Taylor take part in his 12th consecutive final, which saw him take on Mark Deveridge in the final. And I know a few of you might be thinking, how did even Deveridge get to the final? Well, in his quarters, he beat Dennis Evans, and Dennis Evans averaged an 84 average, whereas Phil Taylor, in his quarterfinal, took on last year's nemesis, Kevin Painter, and in the semi-final, Mark Deveridge beat Wayne Mardle, and Phil Taylor beat the Limestone Cowboy, Bob Anderson, which set up their final, where Phil Taylor was victorious, 7-4, which earned him his 10th PDC World Championship crown. Let's take a look at that moment now.
99!
Well, will that be enough? Is Philip Taylor about to win another world title? 12 2 16s for Taylor. Brilliant! It's the dream dozen for the greatest ever player in the history of this sport, as the power lights up Purfleet with a 12th world title. Taylor is the great.
And now we look at the 2006 World Championship final, which Phil Taylor took part in his 13th consecutive final, where he beat Peter Manley 7-0, where Phil won his 11th world title, as in the PDC, but 13 overall if you include the BDO. But at least this time, when Phil beat Manley 7-0, just shy of 107 average, at least Manley had a decency to shake his hand instead of like he did in 2002 when he stormed off stage with his handbag in hand.
Been booked for second place since the outset of this particular match.
Treble 18.
Double 12.
Double 12 for the match 30. World titles! A whitewash! A whitewash! A hug! And an amazing performance from Alan.
World Darts Champion.
And now we look at the 2007 World Championship final, which, to be honest, really has got to be the most overplayed final in the history of darts. Every year the World Championship final comes around, they keep playing the same final, which, I mean, you look at the past ones what we've just been looking at, they're a little bit of a better standard, but for some reason the old darts, as in the community who air it, just love Barney, which some people may like him, some people may not. But in 2007 we saw Phil Taylor beat Andy Hamilton 6-0, just shy of 106 average, where Barney beat Andy Jenkins 6-0 with a 99 average. And then we saw Barney right down to the wire, which we'll have a look at it now. But again, just for history in its own, Phil Taylor in his 14th consecutive final. Again, that's just another stat. It's just unbelievable. We'll have a look at Barney's.
Video champion to end the greatest year of his life.
Why would you require 40?
Tops he wants.
And he gets it! Barneveld is the champion of the world!
He goes Augustus 5 titles.
Now we look at the 2008 PDC World Championship final, which was the PDC's 15th final, which for the first time is when they moved to Alexandra Palace, where the previous 14 years they had been at the Circus Tavern. But in 2008 it featured John Park, who was victorious 7-2 over Kirk Shepherd, and we'll look at the winning double now.
Double 10. Tired dot. Last chance here at the moment.
John Clark secures the double that brings a smile to his face, and a happy new year to him. 2008. John Clark.
And now we look at the 2009 World Championship final, which saw Phil Taylor win his 14th World Championship, where he took on Barney, which this final, for some strange reason, don't really seem to see much replays anywhere else, especially in the build up to Christmas when the Worlds are on again. As I mentioned, they keep playing the 07 final, but this 2009 final is very rarely shown, where Phil Taylor beat Barney 7-1, where Phil broke his own previous record, which was the world record at the time, wearing 7. But in this 2009 final where he faced Barney, he clocked in an average of 110.94, which even now still hasn't been beat. And just like his 16 world titles, this average I doubt would be beat either. But we'll have a look at his 14th World Championship winning double right now.
World title, Phil Taylor can still statistically break the world record for a final. Double 12 to break the record. He does! 109.75! He's broke the world record!
Phil Taylor is champion of the world for a 14th time!
Champion of the world, Phil the Power Taylor.
Phil the Power Taylor, the new Ladbrokes.com World Darts Champion and undisputed world.
And now we look at the 2010 World Championship final, which saw the return of the third place playoff final, where Mark Webster beat Barney to win his third place playoff final. But we saw Phil Taylor play Simon Whitlock, where Phil averaged 104.38 in his victory. But more importantly, this is where we saw Phil win his 15th World Championship, And in his process of beating Simon Whitlock, he took out a 1-3-1 checkout, and we'll have a look at his winning double right now.
Can get it, 96 left, 76, he needs the treble 20 now to leave double A, and he has to hold one hand. Taylor doesn't take this out.
His 15th World Championship, 3 darts needed. Treble 13's the next bit. Double 16s for the big one! So Phil, the power Taylor, is world champ for an unbelievable 15th time!
15 to Taylor, a magnificent, magnificent 131 checkout, says it all, he's delighted, but it's taken 2 men to make this marvellous match.
Absolutely what's live in our pounds in prize money. But most important of all, the title. And for the very first time, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. He is the 15th time champion of the world! And the winner of the dartsport.com World Darts Championship,
And now we look at the 2011 World Championship final, which saw Adrian Lewis take on Gary Anderson, which we saw Adrian Lewis in his way to victory. He hit a 9-darter, but overall he ended up winning his first World Championship, where he beat Gary Anderson in the final, which Lewis averaged just shy of 100 average and Gary was a 99 average. But more importantly, Adrian got his name on the World Championship for the first time, and we'll have a look at his winning double right now.
Checkout needed, treble 20, oh it's Lewis coming back, Sid!
For the world title, the 25-year-old Stokey, half an inch right.
Half an inch right, and Adrian Lewis's dream has come true!
Shalom Taylor protege, Adrian Lewis is our winner. The title of dartsport.com World Darts Champion, that goes to Jackpot Adrian
And now we look at the 2012 World Championship final, which saw Adrian Lewis take part in his second consecutive final, which saw him win his second consecutive World Championship, where he beat Andy Hamilton 7-3, where Lewis averaged 73, with Andy Hamilton averaged 790, But many people will argue, is this the year maybe which we should have saw Adrian Lewis retire on top? Because at that point, many can argue he was the best player in the world at that time. So it's one of them where some people will say he should have carried on, some will say he should have retired on top, because you ain't going to get no better than that. But anyway, this is Adrian Lewis, his second World Championship, and we'll have a look at his winning double right now.
Double top for his second World Championship, and Adrian Lewis has retained his world title. He's finally finished off the tenacious Andy.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the very first time, would you please welcome the two-time champion of the world, Jackpot Adrian
And now we look at the 2013 PDC World Championship final, which was history in its own because this is the first ever Sid Waddell World Championship trophy. After his passing, renaming it, I think, was a very good idea by the PDC. And what a way for Phil Taylor to get his name on there for the 16th World Championship victory of his career, which saw him beat Michael van Gerwen 7-4, where, mind you, Michael in his own right averaged just over 100 average, where Phil Taylor averaged 103, which again, Phil Taylor doesn't get the credit he deserves, because beating Michael van Gerwen with 103 average, where you say, well, people argue who's the greatest of all time. Some people say Michael van Gerwen, which, let's be honest, in a way, they're a bit of millennials when it comes to the history of darts, because they don't realise Phil has beaten the best throughout his whole career, from Eric Bristow, from Jockey Wilson, right up even to players in today's game like Gary Anderson, Michael van Gerwen, Michael Smith. Taylor has dominated them all, and that is why Phil isn't, well, even as it stands right now, his 16 World Championship victories, that will never be beaten, and his 110 average when he beat Barney, that average will never be beaten. So there's two stats right there which I wish the PDC would advertise more, but mind you, there's only one Phil Taylor. But more importantly, we'll have a look at Phil Taylor's 16th World Championship winning moment right now.
Is this to be it? Is this the coronation? Double 16 for the match, and it is world title number 16 for Phil Taylor, and it may well be the sweetest of the lot. He's seen off the next great darting superstar, twice coming from 2 sets behind to win and claim the crown for the first time since 2010.
Most important of all, the title of the Ladbrokes World Darts Champion 2013, and for the very first time in history, he is the 16-time champion of the world.
And now we look at the 2014 World Championship final, which saw Michael van Gerwen victorious 7-4, where Michael averaged 100 and Peter averaged 95. And this is Michael van Gerwen's winning moment, which we'll take a look at right now.
Composure has gone. This is for 5-6 in sets. Not calling for noise now, is he?
38.
He knew how important that
Michael
was.
requires 72.
And Michael van Gerwen slightly threw the last one at the board in, I don't know. Has his day of destiny arrived? Michael van Gerwen
2014 local World Darts Champion, mighty Michael van Gerwen.
And now we look at the 2015 World Championship final, which we saw Gary Anderson take on Phil Taylor, which went to the 13th and deciding set, where Gary was victorious 7-6, with Gary averaging 97 and Phil averaging just over 100. And we look at Gary's winning double right now.
Well, we'll see in a moment or two, because Anderson's now under pressure to clean up.
Gary requires 25.
Double 12. And it's
Glory, glory, Gary Anderson at the Alexandra Palace. He follows in the darting footsteps of the legendary Jockey Wilson and wins the World Championship for Scotland. Phil Taylor will not win World Championship number 17 tonight. What a match, what a performance. It was so close, it was so tight. But in the end, it's Anderson, it's Gary Anderson.
And now we have the 2016 final, where Gary faced Adrian Lewis, where Gary won the final 7 sets to 5, which earned Gary his second World Championship final, where he was averaging shy of 100, with Adrian averaging a fraction over 100 average. And we look at Gary's second World Championship winning moment right now.
For his favourite double, the one he won the World Championship last year.
And Gary Anderson is still the king at the Palace. The Flying Scotsman goes back to back and retains his world title in the most dramatic fashion. He's gone and done it again, Gary Anderson.
Most important of all. And still, the William Hill World Darts Champion, the Flying Scotsman.
And now we have the 2017 World Championship final, which saw Michael Van Gerwen play Gary Anderson in the final, where Michael beat Gary 7 sets to 3, which earned Michael his second World Championship. And we will see that winning moment right now.
84 for the world title.
20. The bullseye, and Michael Van Gerwen has waited 3 long years for that magical moment to be crowned King of Darts again. He owns every...
Michael 2017 világbajnokot, tehát Mighty Michael Van Gerwen.
And the 2018 World Championship final, which saw Phil Taylor in his retirement match take on Rob Cross, where Rob won it 7 sets to 2. But this was the end of Phil Taylor in his PDC career, where he walked away with a world match play after beating Peter Wright in that, and also dominating Michael Van Gerwen after Michael said in all the press and all the papers how he's going to beat Taylor, and Taylor just wiped him off the board in there. But heading into the World Championship, it would have been the dream ending for Phil Taylor's career if he could have beat Rob Cross. But Phil still averaged 102, and Rob, well, he just went up there, nothing to lose, and Rob averaged 107, which even losing like Phil with 102 average, that can't be sort of looked the other way, because I mean, that's just a crazy average to be losing the final with. But for Phil Taylor's career, when he's in his mid-50s and he's still at the top of his game, averaging like that and still winning the match play, even being a runner-up, he's got to take that. And what an ending to really is the best player that will ever throw a set of darts. There will never be anyone like him. I just wish we saw a bit more of him on the telly, maybe in a commentary role, maybe just even on a say on the panel in the studio, because darts isn't the same without Taylor, and it'd be nice to have his input. But anyway, we'll look at Rob Cross's winning double right now.
As Rob Cross bangs in 3 treble 18s, averaging 107. Phenomenal. Look at what you're doing. Go on, hit 180, pal.
140. How you 140.
We'll go treble 18 here. I think
He loves treble 18. Another double 16 for the World Championship, the moment he's dreamt of. And Rob Cross, an unknown amateur, little more than a year ago, has beaten the legendary Phil Taylor to win the World Championship at his first attempt. There will be no fairy tale farewell for the power. He missed double 12 for a 9-darter, but in the end he was caught in the crossfire and he could find no answer. And while we celebrate the career of the greatest player ever to pick up a dart, tonight we salute a new world champion, a great world champion in Rob Cross.
World Darts Champion, ladies and gentlemen, voltage Rob Cross!
In the 2019 World Championship final, we saw Michael van Gerwen against Michael Smith, where Michael van Gerwen won 7 sets to 3, and this is Michael van Gerwen's 3rd World Championship, and we'll see his winning moment right now.
100.
But now he's got 3 in hand at his favourite double. And for the 3rd time, Michael van Gerwen is crowned King of Darts. But boy, Michael Smith made him battle all the way. The most brilliant and talented player of his generation, Michael van Gerwen, wins the crown again, but that was hard work and hard graft.
Would you please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the William Hill World Darts Champion, it's Michael!
And in this 2020 World Championship, we saw Peter Wright take on Michael van Gerwen, where Peter Wright won 7 sets to 3 with 102 average, and Michael 102 average. There wasn't much in it, but a 7-set victory for Peter Wright, and we'll see his first World Championship moment right now.
Well, Peter Wright has missed multiple darts on multiple occasions to beat van Gerwen in a big final. There's no final bigger than this. There's no title bigger than this. And this time, Peter gets it right. It's all right on the night at the Alexandra Palace. Michael van Gerwen offers his hand, and in doing so, hands his world crown to Peter Statebite Wright. And in the world of darts, 2020 is the year of the snake.
And ladies and gentlemen, for the very first time in his career, we crown him the William Hill World Darts Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Snakebite Peter!
And now we look at the 2021 World Championship, which was a very strange watch, especially during the COVID times with no crowd in the arena, and they had the piped in added crowd noise. But we saw Gerwyn Price take on his old nemesis, Gary Anderson, where Gerwyn Price won 7 sets to 3 with 100 average and Gary averaging 94. But what makes it more funny is just before, well, you see in the clip after I finished speaking, where Gerwyn Price, just as he's about to go for his winning double, he walks basically halfway up the stage, looks at the World Championship, turns around, walks all the way back and throws it straight in the double. But we'll look at Gerwyn Price's first World Championship victory right now.
Anderson can't believe it now.
And now it's double 5 again. And well, Price will join us when he's ready. Yeah, and go have a look. He read a few of the names on there.
Yeah, he wants to add his job. He literally just got within touching distance. If he hits double 5, he can actually touch it. It will belong to him. Gary Price is the champion of the world.
It truly is a moment we've all been waiting for. The winner receiving £500,000, the incredible Sid Waddell Trophy. And for the first time in his career, we crown the world number 1. The new William Hill World Darts Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, the Iceman, Gerwyn Price.
And now we'll look at Peter Wright taking on Michael Smith in the 2022 World Championship final, where Peter Wright won 7 sets to 5, which this is Peter Wright's second World Championship, and we'll look at his winning double right now.
140.
96k. One remains, and that is Peter Wright. Peter Wright is the champion of the world.
Winner, receiving £500,000, the incredible Sid Waddell Trophy. And ladies and gentlemen, for the second time in his career, we crown him the William Hill World Darts Champion, a 2-time champion of the world. Snake Peter Wright.
And now we have the 2023 World Championship, which saw Michael Smith in his third World Championship final, and he taken on Michael Van Gerwen, where Michael Smith has earned his first PDC title, where he beat Michael 7 sets to 4 with 100 average, and Michael averaging 99. And we'll look at Michael Smith's winning double right now. But will he win this coming year? I don't think so. There's too many sort of up and down averages, but if you've got to go on recent form, I would definitely have to say Luke Humphries. I mean, he won the Players, he's won the Grand Prix, won the Grand Slam. He's right up there in form, always averaging over 100 at this current time. So he's definitely the player to beat, and he's definitely my pick to win this year's Worlds. But anyway, this is the 2023 World Championship, and this is Michael Smith's winning moment right now. And then that brings us to the 2024 World Championships, where we saw Luke Humphries beat Scott Williams 6 sets to 0, and he was set to play in his first ever World Championship final against a debutant 16-year-old Luke Littler, who Littler in his semi-final went on to beat Rob Cross 6 sets to 2, and that got the final between Humphries and Littler, where Humphries was the victor 7 sets to 4 with 103.67 average to Littler's 101.13, and don't forget, Littler took quite a bit of a lead, going up to 4-2, and well, Humphries, as you know, turned it around, and let's have a look at his winning moments with Humphries' first World Championship win right now.
Can he force an opportunity?
He might be able to. It's another max for Coolhand.
That just proves it for the set, for 6-5, double 7, for 6-5.
14.
Luke Humphries returns for double 8 to claim the world title.
The ascension is complete. Luke Humphries is the greatest darting force on the planet right now. The world number 1.
And now we go to 2025 World Championships, where this time Van Gerwen in his semi-final beat Chris Dobey 6-1, where Van Gerwen averaged 98 to Dobey's 94. But more importantly, Littler beat Stephen Bunting 6-1, which this was Littler's second final in a row. So he's gone back-to-back finals after losing just out last year to Luke Humphries. And this one he goes one better, where he beats Michael Van Gerwen 7-3 in a very dominant display. And we'll have a look at Luke Littler's winning moments right here, right now.
To realise his dream, to achieve his destiny, to be world champ. The button has been passed! This generation's special talent beats the great Michael Van Gerwen. Luke the Nuke Littler, the teenager, is champion of the world. He has beaten them all, aged just 7.
I think the best reaction there was when he was told he won £500,000. Oh, he is our youngest ever world champion, the man that helped.
So that begs the question, with this year's World Championship now $1 million for the winner, 400,000 for the runner-up. Who is it going to be? Who's going to be clinching the 2026 World Champion? With that amount of prize money, you gotta think it's gonna be a rough and ready game, because a lot of people is gonna be thinking of that life-changing amount of money. So you gotta think, is Jan van Veen, is he gonna be the winner? Is Van Gerwen gonna get back, or is Luke Humphries gonna win, or is Luke Littler gonna get his third final in a row with his second World Championship win? It's gonna be an interesting World Championships. I guess there's only one way to find out.